I created a playable game demo based off Mario Maker 2 with some crazy custom features based on my popular Rejected Updates series. It looked polished, but there were plenty of quirks, bugs, and features that I didn't show. So I'm going to show all those and answer a bunch of questions from the comments. One of the funny things that I avoided showing is that the hyperspeed Goombas are actually a little bit too fast. In video games, this is called tunneling. And it's basically just when solid walls aren't coded correctly to handle extremely fast moving things. I'm not a professional game coder, so I tried different things, and the best solution I could come up with was to have both sides to be 2 blocks wide, otherwise they would clip through. There are some other quirks of the game code that I was able to hide from gameplay, such as munchers were not coded to be solid when the player touched them. All of Mario's custom power-ups were a one-hit kill, so while I coded them to kill him if he touched them, if I got the star power, well, you can see what would have happened, so I just made sure to not ever show this. The vines are just for looks. I didn't plan on using them in my demos, so I just wanted something to decorate the levels. These do not work, pressing up does nothing at all. Turbo snake blocks are solid against the player, but not against themselves, so they were able to pass through each other, and this was mainly because I coded their paths like this, where it just had the direction for them to go. I didn't actually draw out the path like you do in Mario Maker. The Goomba mushroom is supposed to move like a normal mushroom, and you see it out of the block here, but when Aristotle was building this level, he needed a way to force me to get the mushroom for this section, and if I created blocks here, you wouldn't be able to jump to get past it, so I custom coded a Goomba mushroom that just doesn't move at all, specifically for this purpose. The ice blocks, yeah, they weren't slippery. I just wanted to give Aristotle something for decoration, so that's why you never see me walk over them. And the cloud blocks are completely solid. I was already pressed for time, and I didn't feel like coding the cloud block to be a semi-solid, so I just used the ground block's physics and changed the sprite. Some other tidbits are that this game was built with no sound because I figured I would either show it without, or I would add them in while editing, and I just ran out of time during editing, so that's why you never heard anything. These ground tiles in Mario 3 and Super Mario World all looked curved and designed correctly, but that was because I specifically created the ground tiles with that proper appearance. In Mario Maker 2, it dynamically changes the ground block based on what other ground blocks are nearby, but I didn't want to spend the time creating that ability, so this was easier. I created a bunch of features that I never ended up showing for one reason or another. First was the pause menu. I mean, that's helpful. Also, I made a level selector so that I could easily pick any pre-made levels that I needed. I also made a preview mode that let me freeze the level and scroll through it. I created a lag simulator so I could see how the game would react if performance ever got really bad, since my code is not professional by any means. But fortunately, this never happened during the actual playthrough. I made a feature that is actually the opposite of the rejected updates. The original rejected update is this. We know that you've always wanted a restart from checkpoint button because it can be so annoying to accidentally select start over and lose your checkpoint progress. So that's why we've updated the pause menu to not have a restart button at all. Now you don't have to worry about accidentally restarting the level anymore. But that's just crazy, so I added that into my own build. This Koopa actually functions like a Koopa, where you can hop on it and then kick it, but I just never used it beyond it being in the demo here. Same with the Spiny. It actually does kill you if you touch it, but I never showed that. I added some debug options that showed me various things while coding, like the player's X and Y velocity, the game's frame rate, diagonal thwomp paths, and the collision boxes for blocks and players. You might look at the block hitbox and wonder why it looks this way. Well, in Mario Maker, when you jump under a block, there are a few pixels of leeway. The problem is that the correct way to do this would have been to give the player less of a hitbox at the top and the block hitbox to be the full height. Because when I turned into Micro Mario, I would have been able to move under any block because I was so small. So when I showed off the power-up, I made sure to not hug any walls because I would have gone right under them. I made a clear condition based on a timer where I would give a preset time, and if I got to a spot before it got to 0, the hawk mouth would open, but I just never used it. I also created a death counter option in case I wanted to show it, but I never found a good time to add it. When I finished a demo level, I went into this hawk mouth door that I took from Super Mario 2, and I never acknowledged it, but the reason I did it was just because it would have taken longer to specifically code the ending pole, box, and tape, so I needed a quicker and easier exit. You also may have seen this video on YouTube with any of these thumbnails, and that was because after the second day, I just wanted to try to see if any other styles worked, and none of them did. This original thumbnail was always the best, so that's how it's going to stay. Now I will answer some of the questions that were asked the most often. How was this game coded? This was made in HTML and JavaScript. That's right, this is completely browser-based, which means that you could build this with a simple text editor and a browser. I will say that with the final version coming in at just under 10,000 lines, that it'll take you a while if you don't know what you're doing. A lot of people asked if my voice was AI, and no, my voice is not AI. The reason it might have sounded off to you is that I used Adobe Enhance to clean up the audio. Here's a quick sample of the two versions. For years, I showed the worst Mario Maker 2 feature ideas that Nintendo would reject immediately. For years, I showed the worst Mario Maker 2 feature ideas that Nintendo would reject immediately. You see, in my 8 years of YouTube, I've used literally the same microphone for all 8 years, and it was cheap. And Aristotle's voice is definitely not AI. He just has an amazing microphone. Some people asked about putting other things into the black pipes, and you know, I never actually tried this, so let's see what happens. So we'll obviously need a star immediately, and then a hidden star here just to keep it going a little bit longer. Okay, that is about as chaotic as I could have imagined. The other main question that so many asked is, can I play this? And as you can see, since this demo has so much wrong with it, and I would also need to add a ton more actual real features and a lot more rejected features, I would like to say that yes, you can play it in the future, but for the next few videos, I want to work on showing the cool and crazy new stuff. As I'm making this video now, I've been teasing some clips of a Donkey Kong power-up with a bunch of things DK can do in Bonanza, so my next video will be about that.